Good wrap up of the week. Finished our last on the field practice just now, and then have a walkthrough tomorrow for about an hour on the field. But I feel good about our preparation. Obviously, a lot's gone into this, a lot leading up to the season opener, and excited to see our kids play. So I'm ready to kind of cut them loose and go hit somebody else.
Have you seen Mike just kind of embrace the day-to-day of getting ready for a game as a starting quarterback, not just in practice, but film, treatment, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. And, it's obviously the first time he's had that role here. And so I think he's handled it well, and just even dealing with the media and having a chance to be able to be in those situations and get yourself mentally ready to, from a film study perspective and getting all the checks and adjustments and all the stuff that you're going to do for a game. So I think in some ways, when you get you pick the guy, I think it kind of almost just takes some pressure off, too, in a lot of ways from the competition part. So I feel like in some ways he just kind of seems even more relaxed, once we made that decision and he knows he's the guy and he's got to go play ball. So, but obviously game day is going to reveal all the preparation. So I think he's did a good job.
I think on the radio show you told fans just have to wait and see for Saturday for the offense.
Yeah, they were asking me what's new. I said, well, hey, just
kind of excited?
Tune in.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Sure, I am. Just bottom line is, and we even talked as a team. When we talk about the first game and why is there so much? Well, there's so much buildup because it's been so many months since you last played. And that's for everybody. There's no preseason games. There's no, we don't do anything against anybody else except for ourselves all spring and all summer and all fall camp. So you just want to see your guys play. And obviously with the new offensive system, everybody's kind of anxious to see, hey, what's going to be different. And so I've tried to kind of keep that at bay as much as possible. Obviously we haven't made radical changes. There's going to be a lot of conceptual things that will be similar, but there'll be differences for sure. And so they'll see those here in a couple of days. So.
Has it been hard for you this week to kind of let go of the defensive reins a little bit?
As it gets closer to kickoff, yeah, and the biggest thing for me is that, managing my time, because it was so much was spent watching film, and even last night, and even what would happen even the rest of today, and so just doing a really good job of trying to, transition from all of that and all that, because you get, your adrenaline gets pumping when you're calling it. It's a different feel right now, and so I do actually have a little more of a calmness to myself, because I'm not, but then there's other things that make you on edge. But at the same time, I've done that for so many years, and obviously in this role here. So yeah, it's it'll be. I've always said, ask me after we've had several games how it really feels, because I think that's going to be the true test. But at the same time, when you have confidence in the people around you, and I have tremendous confidence in Kane and the job he's doing and the preparation that he's put in and our defensive staff, and so that kind of that makes it a whole lot better. But yeah, it's the same time. It's I'll let you know how I feel.
Have you moved guys around on the offensive line with Penix for the lefty, or have you kept it status quo?
Yeah, we've kept it the same. We've done some different combinations, but bottom line is that we've kept that part the same. Because there's a lot of familiarity with the guys and the side that they play on. But we've tried to create flexibility. I want multiple options for our guys, and be able to get the best five in there eventually, and wherever that may be. And sometimes that's not necessarily the five that start the year. So it may be, but at the same time, we've got some guys. Coy can play inside, he can play outside, and we've had Caleb play left and right, and different things, and tried to get Matt Bedford ready and bring him along. And just a lot of different guys. Aiden Rafferty's being developed and stuff. So those are just different combinations. But yeah, at this point, we've kind of kept it the same, and I think it'll be good.
With Caleb specifically, you talked about sitting down with him at a couple points in the offseason. I mean, was one of the things you talked about the idea that, hey, if we've got a left-handed quarterback, if he winds up rising up in fall camp, you're going to be protecting his blinds? I mean, is that something that you kind of discussed with him?
Well, I would say from a perspective of, you got to be ready to be the guy. I mean, if you're going to start at tackle in this league, you got to be a special player, and he's got all the physical attributes, but he didn't have all the mindset, the work ethic, the approach, all those kind of things. So, obviously, I didn't specifically say, hey, you could be protecting his blind side, but I know for sure the challenge was very clear about the change I expected, and he's bought into it, and he's done a tremendous job. So, once again, though, he gets a chance to prove it on game day.
How have you seen Raekwon sort of mature and grow into his role over the last year?
I think the big thing for him has been confidence, and I think that he's a very emotional guy, and he carries the weight of a lot of things from home, you know, because he's got a big heart and he's such a great kid and he cares so much about his family. And so that to me is, you know, as he's kind of matured to handle some of those things, it's also go along the line of just, you know, creating the self-confidence to be able to step on that field, run the defense, and believe that you're the guy, and make those checks with confidence, and make those adjustments, and grab defensive linemen and move them. You're not going to do that if you're not 100% sure, because it's kind of that, you know, I don't want to be wrong, you know. So I've seen him grow in that. You know, he's been so consistent in his play, you know, and I think that's the biggest difference. And because of that, you know, I think he's going to play better.
Speaking of home, how did you guys help him through the situation from last fall?
Well, I mean, there's, you know, to me, it's a situation where, you know, there's only so many things we can do legally with him financially, but we tried to do everything we could to support him, you know, and bring his family up here the way we could, and try to just get them and help them and encourage others to do what they can to help them financially to be able to rebuild, you know, and put their life back together after the hurricane. And so to me, it's just a lot of emotional, you know, just being able to help him handle being so far, and how do you feel, because he kind of felt helpless, you know, and yet they had so much need, and he didn't think he could do much to really truly help him from this far away, and just helping him through that, you know, and part of, you know, that's, and a lot of our guys kind of deal with some of those things, you know, and so maybe not be a natural disaster, but just things that happen, and they're able to say, how can you best help them? Well, you can best help them long term by focus on the task at hand, getting your degree, and creating a future for yourself so you can help them. And because right now it's like, you know, just going home doesn't always help, you know, even though that's kind of sometimes what they want to do. And so, but that's just the balance of all those responsibilities and just helping, you know, grow up as a man.
Did he become more vocal after that?
I believe so. You know, I just think just the whole, I mean, life just, you know, when it's hard like that, it just, it refines you, you know, in good ways, and then you got to be able to rise up above all those challenges.
How did Reese handle the week in practice, and how you guys health-wise going into it?
Yeah, you know, he's still not really sure yet for him, but he's obviously getting back out there was huge, you know, and you know, since it's all, his lower body's fine, so he runs, looks like you think he could, you know, go and play, so we just don't want to rush it if he's not 100% ready. But good to get him back out there, and other than that, you know, Gary Cooper's a guy that you know, had a lower leg injury, and he's been nursing that and will be out for a few more weeks. But other than that, you know, we're ready to roll.
Lance Bryant's a guy you were talking about
Yeah.
before in terms of his growth, and more of the player that you recruited and you thought he would
Sure.
be. Mark Hagan said savviness. What are some of the things you see from him?
Well, I've always felt like he had tremendous ability to bend, change direction, sink his hips, put his foot in the ground, and redirect, which some guys, you know, bigger D-line guys, that can be a challenge, you know. And so naturally he has that. And just understanding football. You know, I just think he's, you know, a lot of those kids from Texas, they've played the game so much. They have all the spring reps. They have all the things that they do the whole off season, a lot of those programs. And he's from an elite program there at Manville High School. So those, their guys, they run their program like a college, you know. And so he brings that to the table, you know. And so what I needed to see from him was a consistency in his preparation. And now he's started to do that. And I mean, he's playing his best football by far since he's been here. So I'm really excited to see him play on Saturday. I just think he's just a guy that has the ability to rush the passer. He's become one of our best pass rushers, and also just feeling out runs and knowing how to handle blocks and read blocks and react to blocks and read and decipher offensive plays. You know, that anticipation part that a lot of times D linemen, they don't always have. They just go, you know. So, but he brings a little bit of linebacker mentality with that position. So I really am excited for him.
Ball State's a team also that passes the ball a lot.
Yeah.
How confident are you in your front forward to be able to get a pass rush this
We
year?
got to, you know, we're going to, you know, mix it up like we always do, and things that we got, and obviously got some new things that we haven't shown yet that we've been working on all off season. But bottom line is that, you know, they're going to throw the football, you know, and they've in the past, in my mind, they've ran the ball, you know, against us, and it shouldn't have, you know. And so in my mindset, you know, I'm talking about from even my first year here when we first played them, and that's a tribute to them. But at the same time, I've never left the game pleased with how we defended them in that regard. So that to me is job number one, is to stop the run, and then when we, you know, create those passing situations. But they do a really good job. Their play action game is really good, very well designed. Coach New does a really good job offensively, and they're gonna have a good scheme. They'll know what they need to do. They'll know the places they've played us enough, and there's different things. So we got to be at our very best.